What's up, everybody, and welcome back. This is only the second video of the year and we've got an amazing one for you. We're gonna make this quilt behind me using Vegas strips. Let's get started. Now, before we dive on into the cutting instructions, let's look at the quilt for 1 second. It measures 72 by 90, monster of a quilt, which we love to see here. And the block is massive. It's a very, very big block, so it's gonna come together very quickly, which we all love to see as well. But something I wanna focus on is each Vegas strip, each piece in here will make one block. So you can see how they're color coordinated here. Now, if you don't know what a Vegas strip is, they are 6.5 inch strips by width of fabric, normally 20 to 21 pieces inside. Now, this is our own exclusive pre-cut. Just like jelly rolls, layer cakes, and all those kinds of things, this is the Sew Yeah version of it, and you wanna pick yourself up some, check out the link in the description below. But let's dive on into the cutting instructions. First, we gotta open this up. So I'm gonna open up this Vegas strip, do a quick little flip through here. Now, what I love about this one is that we've got multiple prints, just all in the same color range, right? Multiple oranges, multiple pinks, multiple salmony colors, multiple blues. That way the quilt will look more cohesive. Or if you go rainbow, like you see here, both will look amazing. So pretty much any Vegas strip will work for this. Now for the video today, let's use a blue. So I'm gonna just pull this all the way out, and we are going to repeat the exact same steps for all of our Vegas strips. But for the sake of video, I'm going to just use this one here. So now what I'm gonna do is cut a bunch of different shapes out of these strips, squares and rectangles. As you guys know, down in the description below is also a free pattern, so I'm going to refer to it a couple of times during this video. But from the strip of fabric, I need 2 4-inch squares. I need 8 2.5 by 6.5 inch. I'll just cut those as strips from my Vegas strip, which is awesome. I need 2 5-inch squares and 4 2.5-inch squares, which I'm going to cut right now. So here are my 2.5-inch by 6.5-inch strips. 5-inch square. So they're my 4-inch squares. Just like that, those are the pieces that I need out of my Vegas strip. I've already went ahead and pre-cut my white, which are essentially the same things here. I've got my 5-inch squares, my 4-inch squares, my 2.5-inch squares, 6.5 by 2.5, and then these ones are 4.5 by 2.5, so that's the only difference in cutting there. At this point, we're going to make a couple half square triangles. So we're gonna start off with our 4-inch blocks, both in white and blue. Let me move everything out of the way. Simple, right? We're going to draw a diagonal line across the white, corner to corner, and we're gonna sew all the way down. We need 4 2.5-inch, we need 4 3.5-inch half square triangles. Normal half square triangle method here, nothing fancy. From here, I'm gonna sew on both sides 1/4 inch seam, cut, and then we're gonna square them up and press them. Now I'm going to cut directly on that line that I drew. Now it's time to iron and square these up. Now, I'm a big believer in the Clearly Perfect Slide trimmer ruler, and then I'm just going to trim this down so there's no really anything needed. And I'll get a perfect half square triangle at 3.5 inches. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that to all of them, and I'm gonna be pressing to the dark side. Nothing special there, just some beautiful 3.5-inch squares, already pre-squared up because we use that Clearly Perfect Slide trimmer ruler, which we love. Now I'm gonna do this exact same process again, same everything, but the difference is my 3.5-inch squares make up this diamond here in the middle, and then my 5 inches will turn into 4.5-inch half square triangles will make up my cornerstones. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. So now, guys, that I have my half square triangles here done, here's the crazy part. All the trimming, all the squaring, all the cutting, we're done. It's simply sewing now. And that's what I love about this pattern. So now we're going to start constructing blocks. I'm gonna go in order here. I'm gonna do my center block here, my 4 half square triangles, to make my centerpiece. Super simple there. If you see here, we have a little coin quilt action going on here. So we need 2 of our prints and 1 of our backgrounds. So it goes print, background, print. And you sew up these little blocks here, which we'll just be using those 2.5 inch by 6.5 inch strips. And then we have to make this block right here. 4.5 inch half square triangle, our 4.5 inch strip, 4.5 inch strip, sewn on to one 2.5 inch square, and then constructing the block at that point. We're gonna start off with the centerpiece and work our way out. Simply going to put these together like so. Right sides together. And as far as ironing goes, I am going to be ironing my seams open. Now I'm just gonna simply attach these and then open up that seam once more. You don't have to open up the seam. We could absolutely be pressing to the dark side, but I've enjoyed opening up the seams over time here. Ta-da! Like I said, I'm going to open up that seam. That's the fakest ta-da you've ever heard. We got our little diamond just like that. Now we're gonna work on our little coin block here, which is simply strips sewn together, nothing too crazy there. I'm gonna need my colored pieces and I'm gonna need my white pieces. And what I'm going to do, because my background is in the center, as you can see here, I'm gonna sew all my blocks together and then iron, because I'm ironing everything to the dark side on this one. I'm gonna add on the other side. So now I'm simply going to just put my iron down the middle here, which will naturally fold them to the dark side on this one. You know, it depends on the block, right? This one's pretty simple. There's not gonna be too much bulk here, as opposed to this one, all that bulk is right there in the center. That's kind of when I make my decision on open seams or, you know, pressing to the dark side. Easy little coin blocks. So far we've made our diamond and we made our coin blocks. Now it's time to make that final block and then construction. Now, final block is super easy as well. Half square triangle, 2.5 inch square, 4.5 by 2.5 inch strips on the sides, and we are ready to go. And I'll make all of them all at the same time. That way I know kind of what I'm getting myself into. So we are going to now start sewing. I'm gonna put this half square triangle to this rectangle, these two together, and then send it home by attaching the 2 rows together. Super simple. Now I'm gonna sew these ones. So I chain pieced all those together. I'm gonna just clip them all now. Now on this particular one, I'm going to iron everything open because if I don't, I will get a lot of bulk on this one. So I'm going to iron everything open. Now it's time to just assemble these blocks. I'm simply going to sew the 2 halves together. Nothing special there. Ta-da moment right there. I gotta repeat the step 3 more times to finish off my blocks. So now I got my 3 different blocks, it's now time to make one big block. Simply put, we are going to put this right in the center here. I'm gonna take my little coin blocks and wrap them all the way around, like so. Now we're gonna add in our corner pieces. Now we're gonna sew 1 row, 2 rows, and 3 rows, and then we're gonna sew those rows together, finishing off this block. I've ironed my rows together. Now I'm going to iron them and then actually sew the rows to each other. So going to the iron. So now it's time to finish up this quilt block, putting my rows together. Gonna attach the next side. So guys, now before the block reveal, I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of iron, a little bit of steam, and let's see how this thing turned out. And guys, just like that, our block is complete. Super fun block, and what I love about it is they are simple techniques and simple blocks, right? We've got a little diamond block with half square triangles, another half square triangle block, and a coin quilt block. Super easy, love to see it, but I love how dynamic it looks. In addition to that, obviously look at the difference between just the background color. We've got a little bit of white versus our pink behind us here. And so the more that you play with it, the more fun you're gonna have. And additionally with that, it's gonna have your own personal flair, which is what this industry is about, right? Being able to create and do things and in the ways that we like. So if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and don't be afraid to share it with your friends. As always, like I've previously mentioned, down in the description below is the website and also where you can get your free pattern of this quilt behind me. That way you can follow along with the video or do it at your own pace at home. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.